don't have any idea. Gene Taylor brought it to me. All right, so this is electrical stuff. Everybody in here is taking, some manner of electrical, and so I'm gonna punch that up here. And so everybody knows what this is, right? What do you think? Where did it go?
With the rod.
Where would you find this wired up this way?
On a power point.
Wired up that way?
Yeah. I mean, what does it do? I'll tell you a little bit about this.
It spins it.
This is an electric motor,
And that's what I was about to say.
Starter?
It takes them outside spinning.
and it can spin 10,000 RPM and stop within a quarter of a turn and reverse and spin
Hybrid.
10,000 RPM in the other direction.
Hybrid car,
Huh?
hybrid car.
What?
The
Hybrid car.
No, it doesn't work on a hybrid car. You're probably gonna be really surprised. This is actually the motor that spins the tail on a bacterial flagellum. It's an electric motor. And that's actually, I'm serious. That was the schematic for the electric motor that spins the tail on a
So
bacteria.
you're saying that electric motor is in a living organism?
Absolutely.
Alright,
Look it up.
okay.
Look it up. This right here, I just pulled this at random off the internet. I already had that other thing, but I pulled this at random, and that's
Wow.
basically a different looking schematic of it, but it doesn't give it in detail like that other one did. Anyway,
Why would you put this,
Yeah,
so that it can motivate through the,
are we gonna wire up
Above.
bacteria?
you might. All right,
Not pretty sure.
we got these here little parts.
Such mad.
These here little parts right here. We got all of these things right here. If anybody, can you identify any of these parts up here?
That's a box.
Resistor.
And what else is in this pile?
Wires.
Well, the wires are connected to components, but I wouldn't consider the wires part of the pile.
Components.
What are these things?
Diodes.
Yep.
Diodes, and you see some diodes up here too, don't you?
No.
Now, what are these?
Capacitors.
For the most part. Now, they're also, you'll see other things that look like a capacitor, but they do other jobs, little resistors and stuff. These are resistors. What are these? If you've gone through your first part of your all data, not your all data, I'm sorry, your electude, you're gonna see some of this stuff illustrated, and you're gonna be walking through some of that kind of thing. So you need to get that done as quick as you can, because you're gonna see these kind of components right here. Now, what about that one right there? What was the deal on that one?
Circular.
You know what a transistor is, right? What is a transistor good for? What do we even have them for? Because they're all over the place. What would you liken a transistor to? A transistor is like something else that we're more used to.
Radio.
It's like a relay, but there's no moving parts. Only got 3 wires going in there, so how does that work? One of them is basically going, whenever you ground one, power flows through the other 2. Or when you power one, ground flows through the other 2. You'll get more of that out of that on your electric thing. All right, now this is a resistor code, and there's several of them. You might notice that I put a little thing together over here that I said, Big Billy ran over young George because Vicky grew weed. Well, this one here says, bad beer rots our young guts, but vodka goes well, get some now.
Okay. I like that one.
Basically, and see right here what you got? If you got a 6-band, you got, various different resistors, it's pretty good. Basically, over on this tail end here is a tolerance band on all that. So, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at this, a 6-band, 5-band, 4-band, and 3-band. We're looking at most of the ones that we'd be working with would be 3-band things. This one right here, if the first digit, is yellow, that's 4. If the second digit is purple, that's 7, so that's 4, 7. Your multiplier is this color, so that is what? 47,000 ohm resistor. And this is your tolerance band. That's how you tell looking at a resistor. Now the newer resistors, the little teeny tiny ones that look like a square, they'll have a character on them or something that's going to tell you. All right, this is one that I basically put together, the resistor color code. Basically you have all right, tell me what this one right here is. Just look at that one. Somebody give me what's that first one?
where's it?
5,
55,
6,
56 in that.
and then
Orange. 57,000.
56,000, the tolerance band being gold, which would be the, 2% tolerance and all that. All right, now here's some abbreviations. Ampere, farad, current, power, resistance, V or E would be volt, W is watt, this is ohm, that's a Greek letter omega. Then you got meg would be 1,000,000, kilo is 1,000, milli is 0.001, micro is, see, that's down to the 100,000, and nano and pico. See how those work? If you got, various different measurements, and if you see this in front of them, you'll know now, meg, kilo, milli, micro, nano, pico. There'll be a pop test on all this tomorrow morning first thing, so make sure you remember it. All right, just right here, if you're measuring something with an ohm meter, the first thing you want to do, if you're, now if you kind of got an idea how much resistance it has, like if it's how much resistance is a spark plug wire supposed to have?
1 ohm.
No. 5,000 ohms per foot. If you got a spark plug wire that's like 3 feet long, what range would you set your meter on if you knew you had a 3 foot long spark plug? And it's supposed to be 5,000 ohms per foot.
Thousands or
Yeah.
higher.
You're going to put it on 20,000 ohms because it needs to be higher than whatever your reading is. If the reading on the meter, if you set your meter to read 200 ohms and you're going to be looking at 15,000, you're not going to get nothing. You're just going to have a 1 like that right there. Right. What I always like to do, if I don't know what the resistance is going to be, the lowest scale you pick is going to be the one that gives you the highest resolution reading. Does that make sense? So I want a really high resolution reading. You can get a reading on like a 200, let's say you got a 50 ohm resistor, you can get a reading if you go all the way up to 200 or 2 million ohms, which is where that meter goes. You see it? That little cheap meter right there? 2 million ohms. You can get a meter very similar to that from Harbor Freight for $5.
Yeah.
And it does, pretty good stuff. Anyway, so I'm gonna set it on the lowest range that I can set it on when I start out measuring something. If I go here and I don't get a reading at all, I go up 1 range. And I'm gonna stop as soon as I start getting a reading, and that's the reading I'm gonna use. Now, if I start up here, I'll have to go down several ranges if it's a low resistance. So 200, 2,000, 20,000, 200,000, and 2 million ohms. All right, so see how I clicked it up there? That's a 2,000 ohm scale. And you notice how the decimal disappeared. All right, and then we got a decimal right there. There's your 20,000 ohm scale, 2, 0, and whatever. And then that goes up to the 200,000 ohm scale, and that goes to your 2 million ohm scale. All right, now then, we're going to talk about wiring schematic. All right, this is a GM wiring schematic. You might notice when you're looking at any wiring schematic that the power typically comes in from the top and the ground comes in from the bottom. So think about power like water, it's always going to flow down. Right? Now it can go up, but you got to pump it up. So the long and the short of it is you also got this right here, you might notice, is your AC compressor, low pressure cutout switch, the cycling switch, the high pressure cutout switch. And go to the next one. This right here shows you where the compressor relay is. And look at this. What do I have here? I got the compressor clutch coil. That's the part down there on the compressor that goes click and pulls the thing in. Kathy, there's our brake line there. Turn that light on, Kathy. Turn that light on, Kathy.
Huh?
Turn the light on.
Never mind. Don't worry about turning the light on. There you go. All right, see you later. Hey, put my ticket where it goes.
Huh?
Put my ticket where it goes.
Okay.
All right. All right. So right here is your AC compressor clutch relay. Now this is the coil. What does this have in common with that? And what the heck happened to my? This thing got all messed up there somehow.
Zoomed in.
Huh?
Zoom out. Move it up and down.
How in the heck did that happen? It's got it running off the edge of the screen, huh?
That's the negative button.
What did I do? Did I zoom it with that? Yeah, there it is. That's what I should have done. Yep, I bumped that button and didn't mean to. Okay, never mind. All right, there you go. So anyway, with that right there and that right there remind you of one another. Jonathan, why is that there? You got any idea?
Someone's gotta carry the load.
That, you gotta do better than that. Why is that even necessary? And why is that little resistor necessary? This is the winding.
So you don't have noise?
This is the winding and that's the resistor. That's not so far-fetched, except whenever you have a, how does an ignition coil work? Do you remember? You saturate the primary windings in an ignition coil. And that also saturates the secondary windings, which have a lot more routes. You need some coffee or something? You look like you're about to go to sleep. Okay. You got a metal core in the ignition coil, and you got the secondary windings wrapped around it, you got the primary windings wrapped around it, and when that magnetism saturates all those windings, you have a potential there. When you break that connection by opening the points, and it collapses that magnetic field, you get a little bit of a spike coming out of the primary, but you get a big spike coming out of the secondary. So you can take 12 volts and turn it into 100,000 like that, right? Well, whenever this magnetic field is operating this clutch, make sure you, over where you can tickle the back of Jonathan's neck when he goes to sleep. Okay, watch it real close. All right, see, whenever this winding is saturated with magnetism and the pressure cycling switch releases it, what's going to happen? That magnetic field is going to sweep across those windings and you're going to get a 400 volt spike. How many of you remembers the radio story I told you from last semester, I think it was?
What would it was flying or whatever?
No, not that one, not that
Off
one,
the flag or whatever, off the
Talking
rebel
about,
flag on the antenna, that one?
not that one.
talking about the one with the coil problem? The coil was making the, you could hear the pop, 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 pop.
You got too many stories.
Yeah,
No.
well,
The one I'm talking about was Daleville Cablevision truck comes over there, and you're going to start remembering it when I tell you about it. And it had to have a radio put in it about every 30 days under warranty. And it was just an AM radio. Came in the truck, no aftermarket. And so they were saying, the new car department has put a radio in this truck 2 or 3 times, and we need you to fix it where that we don't have to have any more radios. Because Ford's starting to wonder what the sound mill's going on when you have a radio that goes bad. And so I got it over there and I hooked my oscilloscope up to the hot wire going into the radio, and I started turning stuff off and on. And I looked down there at the bottom and there was a little thing that said power takeoff, and it had a power takeoff that had a AC style compressor clutch that was spinning a shaft that was going back to the hydraulic pump for the bucket. And so I said, okay, I turned that off and on and I got a 400 volt spike. And that 400 volt spike kept screaming into that radio. And it couldn't take but so much of that before it was just dead as a hammer. And so I said, okay, what we need to do to fix that, because when they wired it up, they just took power and ground to it. They did not have a clamping diode in there. Power can only go in one direction on a diode. So when the power comes in here, it can't go through here, but it goes through here. When you turn it off, this magnetic field collapsing chases its tail through that diode and goes away. You got me? That's what that's for. That's the same thing that's going on here. You don't want to collapse that little magnetic field every time your PCM does something. It's the AC compressor clutch relay control. You don't want a little spike come screaming out of that relay and punch that PCM in the teeth every time. That's what that's for. Make sure you remember that. I'm liable to ask you that for your final exam. Now this is a GM wiring schematic. We're going to compare it to some other ones. Nothing wrong with this schematic. Everybody's got their own way of doing schematic. Oh, also, what I want you to look at here is this right here comes from another page. You see the A? This right here comes from another page. So the page that's leading to this page will have a B or an A pointing in the other direction going off the page, and this is where it comes back on. Now, look, see that little schematic right there? See that schematic with all squiggly lines on it? It looks really complicated, huh? That is the entire wiring schematic for a 64 Chevrolet. That's the whole thing. There is nothing else that you need to know about the wiring schematic on a 64 Chevrolet except what you see right there. They can't do that anymore because it is too complicated. Besides that, try tracing something on that one. You got to have a little small finger or a pencil or something. It's not fun. All right, Ford looks like this. Now this is the same system as you were looking at on the GM. Now the Ford ones, you know, you might notice on the GM, let me back up here. On the GM, you've got the same kind of thing. This right here is giving you metric wire sizes, 0.8 of a millimeter. And this right here is dark green wire, that's a light green wire. This right here is an alternate current path. If it's a 5.0 or a 5.7, it's gonna be wired one way, and if it's a 7.4, it's gonna be wired another way. All right, you got that? All right, so here you go. Now, who knows what this is? Look at that symbol, somebody tell me what that is. Got any idea?
Which symbol? I didn't see you pointing at.
That symbol right there.
That is a,
That symbol right there. No, these are resistors down here. Resistors have this little zigzag look about them. So what's that symbol?
open loop.
Huh?
Huh?
That is a circuit breaker. All right. Now look at this, this blower motor relay. Hey, notice how this one right here, they didn't go to the trouble to draw that little resistor out to the side because they really didn't think you needed to know it was there. All you basically need to know is the fact that you put power here, and if this is grounded, you're basically going to throw that over and your blower motor is going to operate. And this right here is your little, notice how this feeds the ground through there. There's your blower switch control. So watch this. When I put this on max AC, AC panel, anywhere except off, I'm basically going to operate my fan. Right? All right. See that? That's going to energize that. That's going to throw that over. There's your blower motor. Now, how do I get high blow? On this one, the way I get high blow is this ground's going to be coming all the way through this switch, and it's going to come over here. It's going to bypass all these resistors. Every time we take a resistor out of the circuit, the fan picks up feed. Any questions about that? All right. On this one right here, AC heater control assembly. You might notice you got the same representation of this. Here's your compressor clutch. Now on that one there, because you may have to service that AC clutch diode, they're showing it in that picture. There's your AC clutch control relay. Your PCM is actually making the decision on that one right there, just like it is on the GM. All right. Look at this one here. This is what that same schematic looks like on a Dodge. You better get used to these. If you can understand it, you look at your compressor clutch, how they draw a winding on there. They just got that little box with one thing. And then they got this little deal that's supposed to be spinning out here. Now this is an alternate current path. It comes down there. If it's a 2.5 liter, it goes there. It's got a remote ground if it's anything but a 2.5 liter. See, that one there is actually made on there. And this one right here, they're wired in series. These switches are. AC heater control comes through all of those. There's your AC request signal, your selected signal, your compressor clutch relay control. See the similarity? Your PCM is controlling your AC compressor. Now these are, believe it or not, these are all 98 schematics. They're all the same year model schematics. There's your blower resistor. You notice the absence of the little thermal limiter they showed you? May be there, may not be. One way or another, you got to basically all this. And look at how these are drawn. You got all these switch positions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that's how you tell what each one of these are. They put them over here to the side. That's a joint connector, basically, where you've got some wires coming together on a bus bar and it goes off and all that. All right, this is what a Toyota looks like, the same thing. All right, what do you think about that one there? Look at the blower resistor on that one. Are you kind of getting the idea? Look how they draw a switch. On that one there, they draw a switch a slightly different way. And so basically, if you learn how to read a schematic, you can kind of recognize and figure out how to go from one to the other. This is in two sections. It was on two different pages. And see how they got that one there? White, blue, white, black, and white, black. Incidentally, on your Asian cars, blue is L. And on German cars, black is SW. And so you have to kind of figure that out too. What are these things right here? What is that? Anybody know what that is? What's in the AC switch besides these two little diodes and resistors here? Those look like diodes too, but why do they have the little arrows right there? Anybody know?
Because it won't let power go back through the little way.
Those are LEDs, buddy. When you see one like that, that's an LED. Remember that. You know how that little LED comes on when you turn on the AC? That's how that works.
Why does it have 3?
Well, these right here are basically going to be, I tell you, if you've got a redundant current path, coming out of a module or anything else. If it's got two wires coming out of a module, it means that one wire and one pin wouldn't carry that load without burning up. So they basically double up on them. That's the only thing that I know about that. The only reason I come up with that. And basically there's your thermistor right there. See the AC amplifier on that one? This one right here has got an amplifier that feeds power out to the clutch. There's your AC clutch right there. See how different, see how those schematics differ from one another? All right, now look at this one here. This is a Nissan. You got a thermal protector in the AC compressor. Idle air control kicks it up a little bit when your AC is kicked on. There's your air conditioner relay. All right, so see, and whenever you energize that, this goes click, and this power that's coming from the battery goes down there to the thermal protector. It also goes to that solenoid that idles it up a little bit on that particular one. See how Nissan draws it a little different? Now look at this switch right here. That's the fan switch. See how they drew that fan switch? Off. Whenever it's in one, all three of these are connected together. When it's in two, these two and that one are connected. When it's in three, that one, and the wires that are coming off. Now on this one here, this is just a sort of a generic schematic, and they didn't give us any wire colors. I don't really like that. You'll have to get the wire color somewhere else on this one. Look at how they drew their fuses. You know how the other fuses had a sort of an S shape to it? This one here just got a fuse that kind of looks like a winding on somebody else's relay. What is this right here? That item right there, anybody know?
A relay?
That's a transistor. Notice how it's got those three lines hooked to it? This thermistor basically is going to cause that to change states as the temperature changes. Thermal control amplifier. This is a track wiring diagram like you see on Volkswagens. See the difference on that? Now this particular one, I didn't go to the trouble to find the track that had air conditioner on it, but this is what you're looking at basically. This is basically the starter right here. Starter, battery, that kind of thing. And this is going to tell you, they'll actually give you, notice how your wiring color code is right here. WS is white, SW is black, RO is red, BR is brown, GN is green, BL is blue, JR is gray, and then GE is yellow, and LI is magenta, I guess. That's lilac, I guess. All right, this is what it looks like on a BMW. See that right there? What is that little square wave looking thing? Whenever you see a square wave like that, little square wave thing, that's typically, you'll see that in a cigarette lighter schematic. It's a heater. Or in an oxygen sensor, that's a heater. And basically that's what you're looking at right there. Your engine control module is going to be operating the, the climate control talks to that. Then you got your transmission control module that's tied in there. There's your compressor control relay and all that. And that's a BMW. Now BMWs, they got some cool stuff on them. They got what do you call them? Humidity sensors and all that kind of thing. All right, this is what a Mazda schematic looks like. There's your thermal limiter, your blower resistor. You see how you're beginning to recognize this stuff? When you see them over and over with different people drawing them. Blower motor relay. There's some fuses, engine compartment fuse box. Look at this right here. All along the bottom of this, they got the ground. Sometimes it'll have on a Mazda, they'll have a little picture of the car body, so you'll know that it's grounded to the car body. That's a little filament. And there's your heater or AC control assembly, blend door actuator. You'll get to play with those a heck of a lot. I know that because they got laid up to die. And there's your blower motor. So you can basically see how all that's starting to come together. This is a Honda right here. A Honda looks like which other one? The second one we looked at was Ford. You notice how Honda looks like a Ford as far as the schematic goes? The difference is, whenever they're wanting to show you something on a Honda, it will say Photo 7. And you got to go find that photo, and they'll actually have a picture that has been taken as black and white in your shop manual literature. That'll show you photographs of this stuff. Image 10.7. There'll be photos and there'll be images. Images are basically a line art thing. Now, why is this a dotted line instead of a solid line? Does anybody remember? You notice how this is a solid line and that's a dotted line. Anybody know?
And one ground, one pound.
No. This one here is dotted line means you're not seeing that entire box. There's other stuff in it that you're not seeing. But this is all there is to the AC pressure switch. You got a dotted line there because there's other fuses in there you're not seeing. The heater control panel has got wires and stuff in it you cannot see it. But when you've got the entire thing, you're basically gonna see a solid box. Now this is a thermistor, evaporator temperature sensor. Those like to go bad too, and you have to pull the dash out to get to them. Happy day. All right. Now this is a Kia. Notice what a Kia looks like. Isn't that interesting? You got your illumination there. That Kia is vaguely like a Ford or a Honda, isn't it? All right, you got your fresh air recirculation. AC relay has got 2 sets of contacts in it. So you basically got a relay that's got 6 wires going to it. Got a thermostat, dual pressure switch, engine control module. And there's your condenser fan motor. It turns on the fan motor when you turn on the AC clutch, basically. And there's your AC compressor. There's your cutout relay. So on and so forth. Everybody getting this? There's your blower motor. Looks like your blower motor resistors are made into the blower motor on this one. Is that unusual or what? All right, is Jonathan asleep? All right, right here. This is a Subaru. How you like that? Air conditioning relay, thermal protector, pressure switch, engine control module. There's your evaporation thermal switch and evaporator blower motor. A lot of the same components are showing up, they're just drawn a different way. This down here is pretty cool because it gives you the pinout on the connectors where you can tell. See right here is how it's giving you the connector B87. And you go down here, you're going to find B87 right here. See that? And then there's B88. Right down here is B88. See that? It's a 4-terminal connector, but there's only 3 of them used. Everybody getting that? There's Hyundai. Now Hyundai and Kia are now the same company. They belong to one another. And there's your 10-amp fuse, there's your blower motor. You notice you got these temperature fuses here. There's basically on the one that we were trying to change on his truck the other day, it had a couple of thermal limiter fuses on it that would blow. If something happened and the fan quit moving air, it would light that off and it would shut the blower down so it wouldn't burn something up. Because these resistors get really hot. That's why they're mounted in the airstream. All right. Now this is not a class on air conditioning, I'm just showing you all of these so you'll know. Look at your AC compressor on this one, how they got it drawn. It uses a case ground, and there's your AC relay. See that? And there's your blower motor tape. And then there's your thermostatic expansion switch. A lot of them are very similar to one another. Now, this is you, right here, right? Wearing a t-shirt, you got a conservative haircut and all that. You got no nose or eyes or anything. But this is what you need to get done. You got worksheets. They teach you things you didn't know or make you better at things you've already done. Live work jobs give you real world repair experience such as you'd have in a shop, and they should be done quickly. And that means you sit here and keep punching the same button and playing with your phone because it didn't work, okay? This gives you interactive theory training, the elective does, that you can't get anywhere else, which is important, and ultimately this will be you, right here.
$5 in gym.
There you go.
Brand new hat.
That's it. You got a new hat, and you're working on the car. All right. And what you don't want.
It kinda looks like he's pushing it backwards.
You don't want this to be you.
It looks
Because just about every semester I have somebody like this. I haven't done anything all semester long, but what can I do in the next 5 minutes to bring my grade up? And every time I show that to a teacher or an instructor, they say, yes, I see people like that all the time. What I'm telling you is, don't be one of those people. Keep on chipping away. Well, I was telling Jonathan about a guy. That guy actually was me, because when I was working over there and I didn't have work to do in the shop, I was always fixing battery chargers or cleaning up or blowing the dust out of the fans and computers, or I would go and I would update the shop manuals and all that kind of thing. So there's always something you can be doing all the time besides playing on your phone. You guys that are at high school, they take your phone up when you go into the classroom? They do in some places. As a matter of fact, there's several of them that have a phone box that they make all the students put their phones in, because that's the only way you can get them to listen. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. When I was in high school, we didn't have no phones.
Kingston's not a real
Yeah. No cell phones when I was in high school.
They probably didn't have house phones.
Actually, my high school graduating class had 351. Yep.
351 houses.
351